Thank you for making Locked On Yankees your first listen every day. We're free and available on all platforms. Today's episode is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline, where the game starts. On today's show, Carlos Beltran has an eventful first day as a yes analyst because of an on-air gaffe that involves Aaron Judge. The Yankees made 2 moves this weekend for a catcher and a reliever, and more roster moves were made ahead of opening day. That's all coming up next on Locked On Yankees.
You are Locked On Yankees, your daily New York Yankees podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Monday, Yankee fans. Welcome to Locked On Yankees. I'm your host, Stacey Gotsulias, and I'm joined by my co-host, Abby Mastracco. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Locked On Yankees, all one word. You can listen to the show in Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, and Stitcher, and other podcasting platforms, basically everyone that's in existence. You can watch and subscribe to us on YouTube. We're inching closer and closer to 1,000. We were at 981 this morning, and when we hit 1,000, we're having a giveaway. And when you get into your car, you can tell your smart device to play podcast Locked On Yankees. So, I didn't know what was going on before we signed in to do this, but Abby let me know that Carlos Beltran did something during his first Yes broadcast that made me laugh really hard. So, Abby, tell everyone what he did in case they missed it.
Well, let's start from the beginning. We'll get to the yes part, but yesterday there was, Evan Drellick had a story in The Athletic about Carlos Beltran addressing the sign stealing for the first time. This was the first interview that he's given since, all that went down and he lost his job as the manager of the Mets before even managing a game. He did an interview with Michael Kay on the Center Stage show. I believe that aired today at noon. I didn't watch because I was doing other work, but this story from Drellick has sort of the gist of the interview, and he, Beltran sort of he said he wished somebody had put a stop to it, but I mean, he could have. He was the only player implicated in that report. He said the league said we're not going after players, but they did go after him, and he said, why would we stop something that was obviously working for us? But then he also said, well, if somebody had told us to stop, then why didn't we stop?
Right.
It was interesting. I definitely recommend giving it a read. Then today on the broadcast, let me pull up the full quote. Brian Hoke has it.
Yeah.
Basically, Carlos Beltran said that there was an extension in place for Aaron Judge, and that's not true, at least not yet.
Right.
A couple other reporters were saying there's been an offer made. Andy Martino said it's a $30 million contract or something, a big number like that. I could maybe be remembering that number wrong. I was writing in contract information for hockey earlier today, so the numbers tend to get blurry in my head. But either way, Beltran said that there is a deal in place for Aaron Judge, and then he later had to clarify that's not true. I just hope that there's
Yeah.
He just hopes that there's a deal for Aaron Judge. So here's the quote that he said on the Yes broadcast. Aaron Judge, just such a guy that has so much power. And I'm just glad to see him being able to create this new contract with the New York Yankees and being able to extend his stay here in New York. He's an incredible guy. He's a leader in the clubhouse. He's a guy that plays the game hard. And I bet the message has to be from Judge, the Yankees are willing to commit like that for so long. And at the same time, they want to build around him. I understand he's a leader. So I'm glad to see Aaron Judge increasing his stay with the New York Yankees. But then, a few minutes later, I don't know, I guess maybe PR or somebody from Yes PR or somebody.
John J. Filippelli was freaking out.
Told all of the reporters in the press box on Yes Network, Carlos Beltran clarifies he was saying he hopes Judge will sign an extension with the Yankees. What did John Heyman tweet out? John Heyman said, New York Yankees broadcaster Carlos Beltran suggested Yankee star Aaron Judge had an extension with the team on the broadcast today, but was told to correct himself. He did. No deal yet is the word. Official word. It was a first broadcast mistake by Beltran.
I mean, that's a big
Live
one.
TV is hard. Live TV is really hard. I've done it. I mean, how many times do I have to like correct myself or like catch myself even just talking on this podcast being like, let me double check that number. I could be wrong. That like live TV is very difficult and you tend to talk and like ramble, but that's a big
one
thing that maybe, I don't know, maybe he does have some inside information and like thought that it was public already. Or maybe he did just misspeak. Maybe he did just forget for a minute that like maybe he knows that there's like a deal in place, but he just forgot that it hasn't been made public yet.
Right.
I don't think that's the case. I mean, there's probably some sort of like insider information there, but like he definitely, I think he misspoke. Like I think he did just misspeak because the whole like, oh, he hopes that Aaron Judge signs it. I don't know. That just sounds a little PR-ish to me. Like you have to issue a correction, and this is like the story that we're going with.
I wish I could have seen Jason Zillow's face at that
As
moment.
somebody who has worked on live broadcasts,
Yeah.
when analysts do have some like gaffes like that, I do know how we sort of spin it. And like that sounds very much to me like whether or not you have the information that you think you have, you got to correct it. And here's the story we're going with.
Yeah. So he's definitely signing this thing before, like right after we're done with this, right?
Probably. Yeah, that's that would be our luck. I'm going to go do my laundry right after this. And Aaron Judge is going to sign an extension, and then I'm going to be asked to write something, and I'm going to sit at the laundromat with my computer, and Stacey will be cursing herself.
Well, yeah, or I'll have to record my, minute to minute and a half breaking news videos that we do for Locked On, where I'll say, yeah, we said this was going to happen during the show. We knew it was going to happen during
the law of luck.
Yeah. Oh, that's really funny. Just so you all know, I missed everything because I worked out later today than I normally do, and I didn't have my phone with me. I wasn't paying attention to anything, and then I was in the shower. So when Abby told me what happened, I was like, uh-oh. I'm like, it's his first broadcast. I feel bad that it was his first broadcast, and that's a big gaffe. But, like you said, they were able to like spin it into, I hope that this is going to happen. I don't have inside information. Wink, wink. I have no idea.
Yeah. It's just like every time, like Beltran's been largely out of the public.
I know.
For a couple, like basically since he retired. But like every time he tries to come back into the public, there's just something that happens. Like he gets the manager job with the Mets, and then like the sign stealing happens, and like he's been sort of out. And then, there was that weird thing with like supposedly his niece on Twitter.
Oh, that was people still make that joke too about Beltran's niece.
And like now he gives his first interview since the sign stealing, and the very next, like he's launched back into the world of media and baseball, and oops.
Unbelievable.
Like,
it's such a Mets thing to happen, but he's with the Yankees.
Yeah. Well, he was briefly the Mets manager, so
yeah, it's like there's some carryover from.
He did play for the Mets.
Yeah.
Look, maybe once you're there, it's just like there's something that like seeps into your pores.
No offense, but it's true. If you're a New Yorker, unless you're a Mets fan, it feels like they don't know, or they do know, but they put on that kind of wanting to be positive, trying to be positive, and not being negative all the time. Because I think if I'm negative anyway, and I'm a Yankee fan, but if I were a Met fan, I'd be one of the most miserable people on earth, just because I'm naturally negative and pessimistic. And I find them, Met fans and Jet fans, they're just so optimistic when the season starts and then something happens. And I mean, already things are happening.
I mean, I wrote about that today. I have a column up on Bleacher Report about how the Mets, if the Mets want to prove that they are this like changed organization and that they're doing things the right way, they need to get out of their own way. And they need to stop repeating the mistakes and the cycles that they continue to repeat when things spiral out of control. And, DeGrom's hurt. Scherzer might be hurt for a little while too. Like, they need to go out and get a pitcher. And I do think that like turning down that Chris Paddock deal was the right thing to do because it's a lot of dead money for Eric Hosmer.
Yeah.
But they have to go get a pitcher right now. And instead, they're doing the same Mets thing that they always do, where they're like, hyping up some guy who played really well in the Sally League last year. Like, that's not what a big time team would do. The Dodgers, who they always talk about emulating, would go get a pitcher.
Yeah.
And like, I was trying not to like go too deep into any of the, Mets controversies throughout the years because I have written about them and a lot of people have written about them and they want to put those in the past. And the first year of the Steve Cohen era, it didn't get put in the past. Like, it takes a long time to really change a culture, and the Wilpons aren't there anymore. Cohen's there, but the Twitter's not great. And like, I think he learned his lesson from the Twitter a little bit, but they have the pieces in place to be really good, but they've got to get out of their own way. So that was my column this morning about the Mets. And like, I was talking with a couple editors this morning and he was like, they were both saying, well, you didn't write about the other option. They could spiral out of control again. And it's like every year they come into the season with hope and like, okay, this is a decent roster. This could make like, they could make some noise. Like maybe it's not a complete product, but every year it's like, I mean, at least since I've been covering the team, which was my first year on the beat, my only full season on the beat, because I've jumped on the beat a couple times since then for various reasons, was 2017. And, they just made 2 straight playoff appearances. At that point, they thought they were going to have 5 aces in the rotation. One of my leads that year was there isn't 5 aces in a deck of card and there isn't 5 aces in the Mets rotation.
Well, you were right.
It's just... it's such a cycle with this team, and it's just they find creative ways to spiral every year, and there's always like these weird dumb gaffes with that team. It's just so
see Yankee fans, you guys are always complaining about the Yankees, and yet year after year, yes, they're not winning World Series, but at least they're making the playoffs. They're not totally embarrassing themselves. I mean, there are some instances in which they are, but I mean, things could be way worse.
Yeah, I mean, the broadcasters don't have to just read random pages of the media guide when they're behind by 20 runs.
Yeah.
Michael Kay doesn't do that.
No, he does not. In a moment, we'll talk more about this in a moment, and we'll talk about some moves that the Yankees have made because they have a new reliever that actually came over from the Mets, and they have a new catcher that came over from Texas. But first, betonline.net is your #1 source for all your betting needs and sports info. Find all the latest sports developments, including this week's Masters Championship odds, podcasts, and reviews for all the different leagues this season. BetOnline is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information, live betting, esports, and scores. So head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. And I'm sure if you go there today, you'll see something about Kansas and North Carolina because that's happening tonight. Bet online, where the game starts. Thanks for making Locked On Yankees your first listen every day. You should listen to Locked On MLB Prospects when you're done with our show. Host Lindsey Crosby is a prospect encyclopedia, and he's going deep on the MLB stars of tomorrow, including some names we may see on the field in Yankee Stadium in the not-so-distant future. It's free and available wherever you get podcasts. So, speaking of the Mets, the Yankees have a new reliever, Miguel Castro, who had to shave off his beard and cut off his dreads, but he looked very happy in the picture that I saw of him that he tweeted out and put on Instagram. So it was an interesting move, Albert Abreu for Miguel Castro. One right hand, one left hand. I'm kind of surprised about that.
Rodriguez.
Oh, that's right. Albert Abreu went to Texas for Trevino, right?
Yes.
That's what it is. Sorry. I know someone's going to complain in the YouTube comments that I was wrong. Yes, I was wrong. It's Monday. Okay.
It benefits both teams, but I did have somebody tell me yesterday, like they think the Yankees got the better pitcher. The Mets did need more left-handed depth, and Rodriguez has more team control.
Yes.
But
yes.
Castro's got some pretty good stuff from what I understand, and the Yankees seem pretty happy with that acquisition. The rosters are expanded for April, so a couple extra pitchers are going to be carried.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know how, that's going to help ease the workload for some guys. So they've got more options in the bullpen right now. And Castro is a pretty good option. And it also works out for the Mets in that they get a guy with control and they get a left-hander, which they very much needed in that bullpen.
Yeah, I saw the same thing. I can't remember who said it. Someone was breaking down that trade and they thought that the Yankees got the better of the deal. Not that it's so skewed from one to the other, but that Castro's the better pitcher out of the two. So we'll see what happens with him. Again, I just love that these poor guys, they grow out their hair, they grow out their beards. And it's always funny when you see the guys who get traded away from the Yankees, within 2 days, they have a beard, if they can grow it that fast. Like I said, either last week or the week before, I joked about Gio Urshela, where he said, oh, no, I'm not going to grow a beard. I know you can't grow a beard, Gio. I can tell from your face. Gary Sanchez, on the other hand, can. I remember when Robinson Cano, as soon as he left the Yankees, but he always had beards in the offseason. Like, you always see these guys that are like, I don't have to shave every day. This is the greatest thing ever.
Aaron Judge, he had a beard in the offseason.
He looked weird. He did. He looked, I don't know, it didn't look right on him. Some guys look really good with a beard. You know who I was surprised about with a beard on his face? We're so on a tangent right now, but let's do this. David Robertson, when he was with the White Sox, he had a really nice, neat beard. And I thought, with his baby face, he wouldn't look that good with a beard. But I was like, wow, that actually ages him. He doesn't look like he's, only 22. I'm like, good for him. Oh, God, that's so funny.
Not a fan of that policy, but I mean, look, your team, you get to make your own policies when it comes to personal conduct, and looks are one of those things. The New York Islanders do it too with Lou Lamoriello. That's his rule. And last year, Kyle Palmieri was traded from the Devils over to the Islanders, and Palmieri he's a hairy guy. Brian Boyle, I believe, used to call him the werewolf.
Oh my God.
And he had grown his hair out during COVID, and he'd grown his beard out during COVID. Like, Palms always has, his 5 o'clock shadow is more so than what most people can grow in a week. But he had grown his beard out during COVID, and it was quite long, and he'd grown his hair out too. And his wife, Ashley, tweeted a photo, or there was, I think the team account, the Islanders tweeted a photo, new kid in town, and she retweeted it, and she was like, I don't know who this guy is.
See, okay, here's my thing with the hair and facial hair policy. I don't mind it, but I wish they would let guys grow beards, just not ZZ Top beards. I don't need the guy to look like he has something growing in his beard or looking like he has pubic hair glued to his face, because a lot of those beards look like that and it's gross. But if they had a nice clean beard,
trimmed,
or a mustache. I loved when the guys did the mustache for Jason Giambi, and the year that they did it, was it 2013 or 2014? Like Brendan Kelly, Brick Gardner tried to grow one, Mark Teixeira tried to grow one. Like, it looked so goofy, but it was pretty funny.
But dreads can be like a cultural thing, and that's where I think you got to draw the line, and it's a little bit of an overreach there to say you have to cut your hair and you can't have dreads. Like, I get it, because look, every employer is entitled to have a dress code, a personal conduct policy of some sort. We might not like it, but we all have to live with it. But there can be some exceptions.
Right. And you hear in certain cases that guys will actually say, I wouldn't accept a trade to the Yankees because I don't want to cut my hair and I don't want to have to shave every day. I think David Price was one of the guys that said that, right? I believe so. Although for David Price, it probably would have been better if he came over to the Yankees so they could stop beating him up when he was on the mound. Speaking of that, not that he's with the Red Sox anymore, but we are going to have a crossover for opening day with Locked On Red Sox. So that should be interesting. And then for tomorrow, I forgot to mention this, Connor Newcomb, Lauren Campbell, And Ulysses Zambrano and I did a crossover for the AL East preview. There is no Blue Jays host, so there were only 4 of us. But Connor, who's locked on Orioles, stepped in to cover the Blue Jays and talk about everything that happened with the offseason. And that'll be tomorrow. So that'll be the show tomorrow. It's already scheduled on YouTube and it's already scheduled in the audio system. And it's going to go up at 7 in the morning tomorrow. Nice and early for everyone to watch it. And there was no fighting, no bickering. We all agreed basically on everything. So it'll be interesting to watch, Rays, Red Sox, and Yankee hosts agreeing on things. It was very weird. We were all, when we finished recording, we were all like, wow. That was good. Yeah, I was afraid that they were all going to gang up on me because I've had that happen on crossovers. So, yeah.
Well, not everyone's Skip Bayless.
Yeah. Yeah. In a moment, we're going to talk about more transactions, including the Trevino trade. We have a new catcher because there's some issues with our catchers, even though we got rid of Gary Sanchez. So how are there issues with our catchers? Yeah, there are. But first, Built Bar Puffs. It's that time of the show. We have to talk about them. They're the first protein-infused marshmallow. They're fluffy, marshmallowy. They're not just a protein bar. They're a treat. They're covered in 100% chocolate. They come in really good flavors like churro. I mean, if you like a churro and you like marshmallow, have the churro puff is just, it's amazing. Coconut marshmallow, banana cream pie, all Built bars, not just the puffs, are covered in 100% chocolate. They're low calorie, high protein. They're better than a candy bar, obviously. And they come in delicious flavors. Coconut almond, mint brownie, plain coconut, again, all covered in chocolate. They make new flavors all the time, and if they think something would be a good new flavor and they can make it good for you, they will do it. They're all about the taste at Built Bar. They make it taste delicious first, figure out how to make it healthy, and I have no idea how they do it, but they pull it off every single time. Go to Built.com, use our promo code LOCKED15, and you'll get 15% off your order. Again, the promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com. So, the Yankees traded for a catcher. And this is the trade that involved Albert Abreu. My apologies. Jose Trevino from the Rangers, who is a very good pitch framer, from what everyone says, which is good. But my brother joked last night that he said something to the effect of, what did he say? With the automated strike zone, it might not be a skill that you need after, because it's easier to fool an ump that's standing there and not a system, because my brother is an ump and he, knows what it's like to be behind the plate. But it's good to have a catcher that's good at catching behind the plate.
Well, and now the Yankees have to figure out what to do with Ben Rortvet. Rortvet or Rortvert? Did I say his? Everybody says my name, Rortvet.
Yeah.
Everybody says my name wrong, so I really try and say other people's names right, but I'm guilty of getting them wrong all the time.
I have the same issue too, yes.
So the Yankees have to figure out what to do with him now. And he did an interview with Brendan Cuddy of NJ.com, and he said the right things. He's like, wow, his oblique's still bothering him, and he clearly wants to play, but he's, being diplomatic about it. And Aaron Boone said that he could see Trevino on the roster the whole year because he's a major league catcher.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting situation. I mean, I don't know it sounds like Ben Rortvet's going to have to either start the season on the injured list or in the minors. And when he came over in that trade, I think he expected to be a big leaguer,
right,
and be on the big league roster, which is, it's disappointing for any player in that situation. The only thing you can really do is, you go down and you play to the best of your ability and hope that a spot opens up.
Right.
As I've said before, playing time tends to sort itself out on its own.
Mm-hmm. Trevino joins former, now current teammates Isaiah Kiner-Falefa and Joey Gallo. So that's a good thing for him. He has familiar faces on the team with him. And this is what Boone said about Trevino. He's a premium defensive catcher, and we're really excited about that. I think it was something that we probably needed to do just in talking to Trevino last night. I know how excited he is to get here. We're looking forward to him getting in the mix and entrenched in our culture with our pitchers, which, yes, I mean, that's got to be kind of scary, but also exhilarating going from the Rangers to the Yankees, where, you have guys like, you get Jamison Tyone, you have Jordan Montgomery, you have Nestor Cortez. He's interesting to catch because it's not like he throws the ball 100 miles an hour.
Nope.
You have to be more careful when you're catching Nestor Cortez. He's not going to catch Cole because Cole has Higashioka as his personal catcher. I mean, there may be instances where he does.
They still continue to say, Boone still continues to say that Higashioka is not Garrett Cole's personal catcher. But
okay. And I have about 18 bridges to sell you all in New York City.
I don't think that there's any, I get that like maybe the thinking behind that is just trying to promote a team culture or like team unity to the fans and to the rest of the team, like sending a message to the rest of the team. But like Garrett Cole is Garrett Cole. He deserves a personal catcher. Like very few pitchers actually earn the right to a personal catcher. Maybe not earn the right. I think that's maybe a little bit overblown term, but like you want your ace to be at his best.
Yeah.
And he is an elite pitcher. So if pairing him with a guy like Higashioka is going to like bring out the best in him, who cares? Like just say it's personal catcher.
Yeah.
Again, there's all sorts of team hierarchies and politics and stuff when you use the term personal catcher, but
right.
It's Garrett Cole. He deserves a personal catcher at this point. He is an ace, and he's not just an ace. He's not an ace for the Cincinnati Reds. He is
right. He's Garrett Cole. He finished second in Cy Young with a bum hamstring. And
exactly.
So
that kind of pitcher, you can get away with having a personal catcher.
Right. I mean, I recall the days of John Flaherty being Randy Johnson's personal catcher, Jose Molina being AJ Burnett's personal catcher. I always thought that was kind of funny, though, because Posada had a certain personality where he didn't work well with certain
and that happens. And sometimes pitchers need like a veteran catcher. Like a few years ago, it was kind of a disaster with Noah Syndergaard trying to throw to Travis d'Arnaud. And Rene Rivera sort of had Rene Rivera also was a very good defensive catcher. d'Arnaud was the better bat, but with how long and lanky Noah Syndergaard is, there were he was having trouble holding runners on, and Rene helped hold runners on. Yeah. And if that helped the Mets every 5 days, okay, so be it.
Yeah.
Was Noah Syndergaard at the stature where he sort of deserved a personal catcher? No, but it was what was best defensively for the team every 5 days.
Yep. I just wish they would come out and say, yes, he's going to be catching Garrett Cole every game. Just deal with it.
It's not Little League. Not everybody has to have a chance. Like,
right.
This is if this is what gives the Yankees the best chance to win, and if this is what gives Cole the best chance to win, or any elite ace for that matter,
right,
then you do it.
Oh, yeah. Other moves prior to today's game. Davy Garcia and Luis Gil are going to AAA Scranton. They were optioned, and then Manny Banuelos and Ender Inciarte were assigned to AAA Scranton. And yesterday, following yesterday's game, Rob Brantley, David Freitas, is that his name? Max McDowell and Shelby Miller are also going to Scranton. I forgot about Shelby Miller. That's right. They just picked him up. So, moves are being made. Opening day is hopefully happening Thursday. The weather seems kind of iffy, but that's why they built that off day in the schedule, because it's just for stuff like that. It could be worse, could be snow. We've had that happen in the past.
It's like we're in the middle of second winter, and like, why?
I know. It's like Mother Nature, come on. Like, why are you doing this to us?
Is the weather supposed to be bad all week?
I saw a lot of rain.
Friday too.
Yeah, I saw a lot of rain.
Warmer, but raining.
Although Wednesday,
only a 30% chance for rain on Friday, 90% on Thursday.
But it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday on my app. I mean, not all 90 and 100%, but Thursday's 100% rain on my app. So, yeah, it looks like opening day is probably not going to happen on Thursday. Which, fine, that gives us an extra day to prepare for. And Friday looks to be warmer, even though it's going to be damp. It's going to be in the 60s as opposed to in the 50s. So that might be a little better. But hey, the weather gets a lot better next week. Next Tuesday and Wednesday, it's going to be at least in the high 60s, low 70s where I am, 30 miles outside of New York City. And you know, it's always a bit warmer in the city. So that's exciting.
Yeah, I was looking at that. Tuesday,
Maybe
66 degrees, Wednesday, 69 degrees. And I was like, Tuesday and Wednesday are going to be a party in the city. Like, people just absolutely go nuts when the weather warms up. And I get it, because I get, like, when I start to feel the sun, I'm all of a sudden, I just go into like, let's go day drinking mode.
Yeah.
Let's like, the world suddenly is like a different place. I see it in like a completely different light. The sunlight.
And the Yankees are playing the Blue Jays. They're playing a 4-game series against them, right? That starts on Monday, so it's going to be good weather for that. Nice. I know. The Yankees start with the Red Sox and the Blue Jays right away because of the week being cut off where they would have been in Texas the first week with Texas and Houston. So, yeah, I mean, you'll see it on tomorrow's show. We discussed how we think the AL East is going to be. And, spoiler alert, and it's not a shocking outcome. We think it's going to be a 4-team battle. And the poor Orioles are just going to be like down at the bottom watching. But that's what everyone pretty much expects. I mean, baseball pundits feel the same way. It's not just the hosts of the Locked On AL East shows that feel this way. It's the AL East is going to be a dogfight again. I mean, it was, other than the Rays breaking away, it was really close between the Red Sox, Yankees, and Blue Jays. It was all within a game of each other on either end. And that's just, it could be the same exact thing in 2022.
Yeah.
So make sure you have your Xanax ready. Any other things that you need to take or do in order to prepare for some sort of craziness down the stretch? Because I won't make a final record prediction, but I will predict that you could see this being like a 2012, except it's not going to be between 2 teams. It's going to be between 4. It's going to be insane. It's going to be everything that baseball fans say that they want, because they want craziness down the stretch. And I feel like the AL East is the one division where that could possibly happen.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm ready for that. I don't think I'm emotionally ready, but we have months before the end of the season because the season hasn't even started yet. We're only a few days away, but we're almost there, kids. We're almost there. We're only a few days away. Of course, Mother Nature is going to make it one extra day away, but what are you going to do? So that's it for this.
Baseball, for all of its problems, we have it.
It's back. I know. And I'm so excited. I mean, I'm excited that doubleheaders are, well, no, I'm not excited that they're back to 9 innings, but, and I'm not excited about the Ghostrunner being here for one more season, but.
I don't hate the Ghostrunner.
We'll deal with it. I don't know. I feel like the 10th inning's too early.
I do think maybe they should wait until like the 12th.
Yeah, I think so too.
What is the point of like the Kansas City Royals and the Cleveland Guardians,
Yes,
playing in 40-degree weather until 3 a.m. in an April game?
Right.
What's the point of that? Nobody benefits from that.
Right. No one watching it benefits from it. No one playing in it benefits from it.
What's the point of that?
I don't think anyone would sit through that. Really.
So, like, I've talked to a lot of guys around the league, around the NHL about shootouts, and they all say it's not our favorite. The new generation of players doesn't want ties because they didn't really grow up in the generation of ties. They think there should be a winner and a loser, despite the fact that they don't like shootouts because it's essentially a skills competition, and that's kind of a dumb way to end a game.
Right.
But there's no point in beating each other up all night during the regular season, especially 2 teams that aren't going to make the playoffs. And even like after the trade deadline, teams have already been like out of contention.
Yeah.
Like they think that there's just, it's almost more the benefit, or the risk outweighs the rewards. You risk somebody getting hurt, and it's, they play normal overtime rules in the postseason. They drop the shootout. It's sort of a begrudging thing. Some of the younger guys don't hate the shootout. It gets you out of there at a certain time. You're going to get out. The Ghostrunner is sort of like that. It's like a begrudging thing, and at least I think it maybe you could do it in like the 12th or the 13th as like a last ditch. Okay,
Yeah.
we got to get this out of here.
Yeah,
But
we can't go to 18.
it does create some action sometimes. And I know some people are like, "Oh, dropping down a bunt is not like a sack bunt's not really action." But like, okay, at least it's something. Like it's something that might create something or might create some offense for you and end the game.
Right. I feel a little better now knowing that the Yankees' infield defense is better going into this season with that rule. So maybe things will be a little different for the Yankees if they have to go into extra innings with the Ghostrunner, because last season was kind of a disaster, which is why I didn't like it so much. I like it when I watch other teams do it, but I don't like it when I'm watching Yankee games. But that's how I am with everything. So,
well, Aaron Judge dropped down a pretty nice bunt in spring training game the other day. So, like, maybe everybody should stop hating on bunting so much if Aaron Judge is good at it.
Right.
Maybe he could help popularize bunts. Probably not.
I know. I think more guys should do that. Because I think guys like him, Stanton and Gallo, like these big dudes that you expect to hit home runs, our big boy outfield when they're all playing, I think that they should do that every once in a while, because that'll get teams to stop doing certain things, which would be really funny.
Well, Aaron Judge sent the Yankees to the postseason on an infield single.
Right. That's right. The last day of the season, that game was horrible. That game was awful, and it was so fitting that that's how it happened.
The whole series wasn't good. I was there the whole weekend.
Yeah, no, it was awful. It was awful.
I think I even told Brian Hoke, I think I even said, like, the best part of this weekend for me was that I got a sandwich from Court Street Grocers. Like, that's the highlight of the weekend for me. Like, it was like, I can't even remember what happened in the first two games. And I think by the time Sunday hit, I couldn't remember what happened either. But the Yankees had chances both nights.
Yeah.
And then Sunday, it was just like...
neither team could score. And I was like, what is... I'm like, this is going to be one of those games that's going to make me want to have a heart attack and age me 5 years. And sure enough, for the last game of the season to get them into the playoffs. Hey, hopefully that... Oh, see? After everything I said earlier, that's probably going to be the same thing this year. It's going to be some sort of last-second game that's going to help them get into the playoffs.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is it for this episode of Locked On Yankees. Again, tomorrow will be the AL East crossover. You get to hear from the hosts of Locked On Red Sox, Locked On Orioles, and Locked On Rays, along with yours truly. Abby and I would like to remind you that you can listen to this show in Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Odyssey, Spotify, Stitcher, anywhere else you get your podcasts. You can watch and subscribe to us on YouTube. Press that subscribe button. We're almost at 1K, and when we get there, we're having a giveaway. And when you get into your car, tell your smart device to play podcast Locked On MLB. Make your second listen of the day Locked On MLB. Paul Francis Sullivan, please call him Sully, brings you his unique perspective on the major leagues, both past and present. It's free and available wherever you get podcasts. One more thing, if you could be so kind, please rate the podcast and spread the word about this podcast to your fellow Yankee fans. We'd really appreciate it. So enjoy your Monday, and we will talk to you all tomorrow.